Hi, my name is Joe DuPont, and today I'd like to teach you the basics of tying up a drift setup for steelhead fishing. Basically, drift fishing is casting out and bouncing some type of bait or a corky along the bottom. It's a very popular technique, and you can catch a lot of steelhead using this technique. Now, there are many different ways you can attach a weight to your line, and I have displayed in front of me several of the different pieces of equipment you can use. So, for example, we have a slider here. And actually the way a slider works is you run your line through the slider, and then you can attach a weight on it. It could be a slinky, or it could be a piece of pencil lead with a hole in it. A very simple type of slider is actually a swivel, where you can actually just put the line right through the swivel here, and then right on the bottom of the snap swivel you can again attach a slinky or a piece of pencil lead. Some people like to use these pre-made three-way swivels here. You can buy them right from the store like this. Then you'd tie the line on here. You'd put a weight on the bottom. In this case, you'd have to use a piece of pencil lead. You can attach different lengths in here depending on how fast the water is and how far you might want to cast. And then on the other side, you just put the hook. A very simple technique is just to run a piece of tube through your line, and then you can just put the weight on the end of it. A very simple, easy way. And then a little more complex way that some people like to use is a three-way swivel. You'd put the line on one end, and then the other end you'd have a dropper coming off. And this kind of lets you adjust how far away the weight you want from your bait. It allows you to fish at different depths if you need to. And then finally, I need to mention the types of hooks or baits that you're going to use on it. For steelhead fishing, you don't have to use real large hooks. A lot of people like to put a little bit of corky on it, and sometimes you use a small corky like this. Here's a double hook setup actually, and the corky is to keep the hook off the bottom so it doesn't snag, and actually might keep it right in front of the fish more. Some people like to tie yarn on their hooks, such as this one here, and they think that when the fish bites it, the yarn can stick to their teeth, which I think can be very effective. If they want the hook again to float off the bottom, they can put different corkies on. There's a lot of different corkies of different size and different colors. So if you have a favorite, just go with your favorite. And then some people go with just a straight hook. You can put shrimp on it, you can put an egg on it, you can put a whole lot of different types of baits. So, and usually what I like to do is have about 1.5 feet of line between the weight and the hook, and I like to use a smaller pound test line in case you hook the hook on the bottom. You can break that off without breaking the rest off. So let me show you how to tie up one of the easiest setups that I think is very effective, and I would recommend that people who aren't familiar with this to use this one. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take this short piece of tube. We're going to thread the line through it. And remember, this tube is what the weight's going to attach to. Then I've already set up a barrel swivel on this particular hook here, and all you do is you tie the barrel swivel on to your line here. And what the barrel swivel does is it helps prevent the tube from sliding down to your hook. Then once you have your tube on here and your barrel on here, you can just slide the weight right over it. Again, you can adjust how much weight you want on here based on how fast the water is or how far you might want to cast, how fast you want your drift to occur. Then on the other end of the barrel swivel, you have your line that goes, again, to your hook. So there it is, very quick, very simple, and very effective. Go out there and try it.
The Maldives is home to diverse marine life and a unique geography attracting many tourists each year. While the Maldivian waters are some of the most remarkable, they're under constant threat. The world's oceans are suffering in a number of ways, but one that affects the Maldives is the problem of ghost nets. Ghost nets are fishing nets that have been lost, abandoned, or discarded at sea. These drifting nets trap and kill marine organisms. Entangled fish act as bait, attracting larger predators, such as turtles, sharks, whales, and dolphins that may themselves become entangled. Most entanglements go unnoticed. Smothering coral reefs, ghost nets can cause further loss by spreading disease, parasites, and invasive species to reef environments. They affect the sustainability of well-managed fisheries by damaging boats and killing species with economic value. Ghost nets can also impact the beauty of shorelines, resulting in expensive cleanup costs. Oceanic currents carry nets long distances, making them difficult to track. Although ghost nets negatively impact the Indian Ocean's economic and ecological resources, the cause and magnitude of this problem remain unknown. The Olive Ridley Project, founded in the Maldives in 2013, attempts to identify key factors contributing to ghost nets in the Indian Ocean. In its first year, the project recorded a minimum of 107 ghost nets. In 54 of those nets, at least one, and sometimes more, turtles were found entangled. The Olive Ridley sea turtle accounted for 61 of all recorded entanglements, followed by the hawksbill turtle with 4 and the green turtle with 1. Maldivian law does not allow any form of net fishing within its exclusive economic zone. Traditionally, pole and line and hand line are the predominant fishing techniques, so where are these nets coming from? There are 3 major fishing techniques used in the Indian Ocean that may contribute to ghost net production: purse seine fishing, associated with DFADs, drifting gill nets, and trawling. Ghost nets may also come from merchant ships or illegal fishing operations. There is still little information available on the sources or amounts of ghost gear generated. The Indian Ocean's 2 main monsoons, the southwest and northeast, affect currents and dictate where ghost nets travel, with many being found in the Maldives. 68% of Olive Ridley entanglements were encountered during the northeast monsoon. This may be because it coincides with the Olive Ridley nesting season in Orissa, India. Olive Ridleys have a spectacular way of nesting in a phenomenon known as an arrabada. Thousands of turtles gather offshore every year in preparation for a mass nesting event on the east coast of India. After they are born, juvenile turtles find mats of floating algae that act like mini ecosystems complete with food and shelter. Unfortunately, many mistake ghost nets for algae and become entangled. In its first year, 77% of turtles recorded by the Olive Ridley Project were juveniles. The real number of entanglements is impossible to estimate since counts rely on the sightings of live or recently deceased animals. The Olive Ridley Project is a citizen science-based project where anyone can contribute to the prevention of ghost nets. If you're currently in the Indian Ocean, you can get involved by removing any ghost nets you find when snorkeling or walking the beach. You can collect valuable information on the design of the net and associated marine organisms to help scientists identify where these nets are coming from. Visit www.oliveridleyproject.org to contact us or find out more. If you're not in the Indian Ocean, you can contribute by carefully selecting the fish you eat. Since 22% of the world's tuna comes from the Indian Ocean, it is important to only support brands that specify tuna caught using pole and line. Brands that do not specify their fishing method are likely employing nets, which are responsible for high levels of bycatch and ghost net production. The health of our oceans affects everything from the vast numbers of marine creatures and plants to the human communities who rely on the sea as their main source of income. The ocean impacts the food we eat and the air we breathe, and every act helps in the effort to conserve our seas.